Mr. Clovel, hey man, how you doing out there today, my guy? DQ himself.
What's going on, young man? How are you today?
Hey, you already know what time it is, my guy, man. I'm loving what's about to happen. Let the world know what's going on.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
It's a pleasure to be on with Queen Jessica Shufford, the one and only baby Oprah. It's amazing.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Ms. Shufford, would I need to put you in co-host mode or anything so that you can share screen, or we just talking? Just asking.
No, we're just talking. We don't have to share screen.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Hey, how you doing out there, Miss Jessica Shufford? Hey, this is my first time being in the building with you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Hey, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you on today. So the world can get some awesome information that's gonna help help their financial horizon. Hopefully, get them to change their financial identity because a lot of people need it.
Absolutely.
All of us need it.
I was just about to say all of us need it.
Yeah, I mean let's not even try. All of us need it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yes. Okay, awesome. What else we got on? Miss Sarah back on. That's what's up. How you doing, Miss Sarah? She probably ain't heard me.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Truly blessed. Glad to be here. It's nice to see you all. I'm at work, so I might not be on camera, but I'm grateful to be here. Thank you so much for hosting this phenomenal roundtable and for all the service you guys provide.
Awesome. Miss Regina Hines, how you doing out there today? We got her all the way. I should have pulled up on you. I'm in your area right now.
I'm doing wonderful. How y'all doing? It's a happy Sunday.
Exactly. I know that's right. That's right. Who else we got in the building up in here?
Miss Gerda Nathaniel okay. Out of the VI.
Okay, Miss Gerda, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Awesome, ma'am. Awesome. It's good for you to be inside the building today. It's awesome. We'll have some fun talking today with this expert in here, man. I'm loving all this already.
Welcome to the round table.
JT, man, hey, what's going on, man? Hey, nice for you to come in the building, sir. How you doing today?
Good afternoon.
Awesome. I love it. The more the merrier. The man himself where the money reside. JT Money. That's what I'm talking about.
We're going to all have that same title soon, if we ain't already have it. When we start playing by these rules that are about to be put down here, yes. Welcome to the round table. Well, we don't leave nothing off the table. We put it all on the table. It's up to you to pick it up. Me getting ready to start in a few minutes. Bear with us as we prepare to give you guys what it is you need or what you've been missing. What you've been missing or overlooking. We have some key players in here that's going to be able to not just tell you what to do, but they have also implemented these things and they have seen results. So this ain't from theory, this is from practice. So we're gonna get started. I am your host, Ms. V Monsanto, and this is the round cash flow roundtable, and I'll bring to spotlight my host, my co-host, Mr. Brian Woods.
Hey, how y'all doing out there today, man? Hey, thanks for coming on. Hey, you already know how we do. Hey, I love the fact that we're about to talk about an awesome conversation today. Hey, thanks for bringing me on. Hey, as a co-host, Miss Verna Masata. Let's get right off into what we do best. Let's talk about this conversation.
So we just got paid. I'm sorry, my phone went off and think about we just got paid. It's always good that it comes on right around that time, but that's a different platform. But we thank you guys for being here. Mr. Woods, how is your day going today?
Hey, it's going awesome, man. I'll tell you right now, man, I'm just so happy to be in the building. Let's talk about how we can stop living, paycheck to paycheck and start to create some generational wealth with some actual facts. We got some awesome players in the building. Like you said, today we're going to be talking about taxes. This is one of the biggest things that's stopping people from becoming wealthy. This is the first thing that's stopping people from wealthy. This is the biggest thing. So this is going to be one of those necessary things that if someone's watching right now live or whether they're watching that, hey, tune in, share with a friend. We're going to get off into this conversation right how necessary to need to be. So, hey, without further ado, hey, Ms. Verna, go ahead and set it off, Ms. Verna.
All right. Thank you. I am excited about this topic because a lot of people overlook a lot of the things overlook a lot of stuff when it comes down to their taxes. They don't realize there's a lot of rules and laws that you can take a part of as a citizen of the United States. There's a lot of things, but you have to be in the right standing. So I'm not the expert, and although I have prepared taxes in the past, worked on tax returns for people in the past, and worked at tax agencies, I don't consider myself the expert because I didn't study it. I don't do it anymore. So I'm going to bring a fellow tax preparer up in front of you. Ms. Shufford, are you on camera so I can put you on spotlight with us?
I'm here.
Okay. I'm going to spotlight you. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Hey, Ms. Shufford, how are you doing? It's so
great.
amazing to be on this platform with you. I've heard you speak before, and I know that you have a wealth of information to bring to the people. So we are happy to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
First of all, I want to say, guys, thank you for having me on this afternoon on this awesome Sunday. As she stated, my name is Jessica Shufford. I'm located in Montgomery, Alabama. I've been doing taxes a little bit over 14 years now. I've been in the financial industry a little bit over 17 years now. And I absolutely love it. Ms. Verna, she actually pointed out one of the things where Brian as well spoke about taxes and how it's one of the most important things. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard this before, but taxes are our number one expense. And so if that's our number one expense, that's one of the first things we need to be focusing on is the taxes and stop overpaying in taxes. Out of my 14 years of doing taxes, people come in and they want to know how much of a refund I'm going to get back. And I immediately just started shaking my head. And it's hard to get them to understand, like, you don't really want a tax refund back, because if you're getting a tax refund back, that means you overpaid something. Anytime you're getting a refund, that means you overpaid. And in the economy that we're in now, I don't know. I don't want to sign up to be overpaying anybody. Like, I want to be able to utilize my funds how I want to utilize my funds in order to get ahead, especially again in this economy that we're in now. So for all the listeners and watchers out there, a refund is not something that you want to get back. You want to pay only what's due to the IRS, nothing more, nothing less. And we teach on tax minimization, not tax evasion. We're not trying to be illegal. We want to get Uncle Sam what's due to him, right? But to be able to just minimize your taxes legally, ethically, and morally. did you have any questions for me, or you just want me to dive in on some things?
I want you to dive in on some things, but I'm gonna go ahead and bring some of our other guests up because they have taken advantage of some of these tax laws and applied it to their life, and they have seen changes. So maybe they and you can dialogue with what has happened with them and so forth. So I'm going to bring first up Mr. Clovel Oliphant. If I'm going to spotlight you, and you could just tell me a little bit about your background and let the people know who you are.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It's truly a blessing to be on here with the superstar panel, Mrs. Shufford, Jason, yourself, and Brian, and everyone else that's watching. It's truly a blessing to be here and an honor. So with that said, a little quick rundown about myself. Like she said, my name is Clovel Oliphant, born and raised in North Philadelphia. I am my mom's single parent, 5 kids. I'm the 4th. We all have different four different fathers, so to speak. My first job was when I was 10. Favorite color green. I've been working since I was 10 years old, like I stated, helping a young a lady with her bags from the corner, elderly lady, carry them to her house. That was my first job. And then I did everything that was required of me, asked of me. I went to school, got good grades, finished high school, went to college, and then I found out the hard way that there's a system out here that's not for us. So with that degree, I couldn't do anything with it, so I joined the military, the Army. I've stayed in the Army for over 20 years. I have 5 kids. All of them have been or are in college currently. I've been married. My wife is from Louisiana. I've been married for 34 years. And I retired out of the military, the Army, in 2015. So with that said, this business opportunity was introduced to me by a fellow colleague, and my number one thing was, just like we're about to talk to, was taxes. Getting out of the military and getting my current job as well, which is a supply logistics contractor at Fort Stewart. I knew I was going to get killed in taxes with my retirement plus my new job. I was like, I know I'm about to get choked out. So this opportunity with MWR Financial came at the right time, and I took care. And we're going to get into this. The first strategy was the instant pay raise and lower my taxes. Found out I was overpaying every month $400. I was overpaying $400, and the instant pay raise was that $400. So I've been partnering with MWR Financial for 3 years. So if you do the math, $400 times 3 years is $14,400. And also for those 3 years, I did not pay taxes legally, ethically, and morally as well, like Jessica stated. Also during that time, I was able to write off a total of $200,073 and $966 totally with my business expenses, which lowered my my income, the taxes that I had to pay. So which was great. So for the last 3 years, I hadn't had to pay taxes, and I also got what we call in our business, in our organization, rebates as well for those 3 years, which was great. So that's a little bit about me. Did that do you justice, Queen V?
Yes, it did. It did. And we're going to cover some of those things, and Ms. Shufford could dive in a little bit more on some of those reasons why you were able to do all of that, to clarify and get in the air why you want to do what it is we're getting ready to talk about. So I'm going to bring Mr. Jason Thomas to the spotlight. Mr. Thomas, can you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Hey, thank you, Verna, for allowing us to be on here. And thank you for inviting me personally. I mean, I feel like a kid in a candy store. I got the heavy hitters on there. I'm just a small fry in the bunch, but I'm thankful to be on this panel with Ms. Shufford, Jessica, and my mentor, Mr. Clovel Oliphant. But real quick, my story is similar to Clovel's. I'm actually 20 years active duty as of right now. And before I joined the military, I really had aspirations to go to college, get a degree, do the normal thing that we get taught, and get a good job. But through the course of that, the military recruiters kept visiting me and getting me out of school, taking me to eat. And for everybody on the panel, y'all know I like to eat. And so that was a key to get me into the military. So they got me into the military. And I've been here 20 years, active duty, same MOS, same position, just taking a different route and going warrant officer. For those that don't know what that means, basically that means same field, higher level of responsibility, more pay. But what I couldn't understand, Verna, is that I was getting more pay with each rank and promotion I was getting, but I was going nowhere. My money was still ending up at the end of the month, very little to none. And so with this company, I joined MWR just 3 years ago, and life has completely changed. I finally got a position to where I have positive cash flow, and I've been sharing it ever since. So my favorite color, since Clovel throwing out colors, my favorite color is white. I really like white, clean, crisp, and basically it's a clean slate. And so with this business, I started over, got a clean slate, and ever since the experts have gotten involved in my life, I've been seeing things on the drawing board that I've never seen before. So that's my little introduction.
So thank you, and thank you for that. Thank you for that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask Ms. Shufford to go over certain things, and if it applied to you when it came down to your taxes, let us know how that affected you because you implemented that. Cool. So Ms. Shufford, one of my things, I used to prepare taxes also. I worked in those every tax season. They'll call me in for a class. And I go and study this year's tax laws and what has changed and stuff like that. But by no means was I considered an expert. As a tax preparer, what is your duty to your client?
So always due diligence, right? You want to know what it is. And I want to touch on this because I heard you guys say, you wrote off a lot of things. Due diligence first. You got to know what it is that your client is bringing to you. You got to make sure what they're bringing to you is true, right? Because we do have those people that come in and say they got this, that, and the third and don't have any of it. So you got to make sure you do your due diligence with your client, but also you want to make sure that you're knowing what it is that your client is needing in the for future. When I say for future, I'm talking about within like the next 2 years or so. When it comes to their tax preparation and having a business. So you guys bringing up MWR, Make Wealth Real, we're all a part of this amazing company. When I first saw it, before I joined it, when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is a no-brainer, because this is something that I could be able to offer my clients without them having to go out and try to create a business themselves, try to think about the full functionality of whatever business they decide to start. Everything is already in place for them. There's a whole system in place for them. But with that, I wanted to be able to offer them that membership portion of it to get everything in order without me having to be so hands-on with every step of the way. We have a group of experts that do that. But my role as their tax professional was to be able to hold their hand and guide them step by step. And so a lot of them, they say, I want to purchase a home within the next couple of years. Here's the things with a lot of write-offs. You got to know what it is that you're looking to do. If for her, she wanted to purchase a home. So I'm just going to throw some numbers out there. If you're making $100,000, but you're writing off all of these expenses. And now you've written off so much. On paper, you're only making about 30,000 because you done wrote off $70,000 in tax deductions, which rightfully so, you probably had $70,000 in deductions. But when you write off too much, then on paper, you're not making enough money. And so now when you want to go out and get that home, you don't make enough money on paper to get that home. So me doing my due diligence, asking what it is that my clients are needing from the jump is going to determine how we're going to structure things. I hope that made a little sense to you guys.
Yes, it did. So basically what you're saying is when you're doing your taxes and your tax preparer actually questions, be truthful with them about where you are and where you're trying to go, because there are some things, even though you want to write off, like that person who wanted to buy a home, they may not be wise this year or within the year before
At least 2 years.
To write off so much taxes, because you need the income to show that you are making it to be able to purchase that home. Correct.
Absolutely. And we're talking about the tax deductions. There's over 450 tax deductions that, people are able to get, but you gotta position yourself in order to get those things. And one of the most convenient ways of being eligible to utilize those 450 tax deductions is to have a home-based business. And within the MWR, we're able to have our own home-based business. And some of those tax deductions are, being able to write off your domicile, whether there's rent or mortgage, being able to write off a percentage of that, being able to basically write off the lifestyle that you already have, because you already got to pay your light bill, you're already having to buy groceries, you're already having to, drive, purchase gas. There's a lot of things that we do already that we actually can write off if we position ourselves correctly.
So Mr. Jason or Mr. Oliphant, with what she just said, before you joined, you got this home-based business and were writing and doing your taxes. A lot of those deductions that you are taking advantage of now, were you able to do so before having a home-based business?
I'm gonna do with the youngest before the oldest. Go ahead, Jason. I'm gonna let you go first. I'm about 88 years old. You're about 21. So go ahead, Jay.
Hey, well, according to TikTok, I'm 10 years old, but no, Verna, with these tax deductions, these tax laws, how the IRS writes it off, they're looking for business owners. They give it to the business owners. You cannot, I could not write off $7,000 worth of food as an employee, but as a business owner having business meals, I've been able to do that for the past 2 years. And I love what Jessica said. A lot of people only see the tax preparer or tax professional when it comes tax time, but really tax preparation and tax preparing or period is something you need to think about throughout the years. And like Jessica said, throughout the next 2 years, and a lot of people don't think about that. So I've been able to write off a lot of my any day, everyday expenses because of this business. And I do understand that when it comes time to purchase a new home or new investment, that there's going to be a different shift in my tax preparation for that time period. And that's what a lot of people just don't know. If you're sitting there renting and you've been renting for a while, you don't plan on buying, hey, well, let's get as much money as back into your pocket as possible and deduct your, if not your entire income, a big portion of your income, because right now you're not at a position to where you're looking or need that money on paper. And so I've been able to write off vehicles, mileage, food, clothes, room, shelter, whatever you want to call it. And it's been beautiful.
Absolutely. Likewise, Jason, the same way with me, I was able to write off gas for my vehicles, maintenance that I was going to do anyway, 62 cents a mile recently as well. Just the ordinary expenses that I would have done, eating out, lunch, cable bill, light bill, the square footage of my percentage of the square footage of my home, which I use for office. Like Queen Jay said, it's over 450. So taking care of your personal self, i.e. haircuts and things of that nature, which are legitimate tax write-offs as well. So again, we have enrolled agents, which is the highest level of taxes experts that there are. And we also have the Hurler app, which assists us to be documented, like Jessica said, and be truthful and upfront. And documentation beats conversation all the time. So that in the event that you was to get audited.
Absolutely.
That was great. I've filed taxes. I've been a tax preparer, and I've had a brick and mortar business. And when I went to file my taxes, they didn't allow me to write off clothes, and they didn't allow me. Is there a reason why certain business you are able to write off certain tax deductions, and in some business you don't, Ms. Shufford?
So it has to be deemed a necessity for your business. When it comes to clothing within your brick and mortar business, it could be anything that if you have a logo or something, anything that you put your logo on that's defined as a uniform, those type of things are tax deductible. Certain things that you're in, if you're going to travel, you have to deem that a necessity for your business. And a lot of businesses can't deem it reasonable for you to go travel. Versus with us within MWR, we can talk about this business anywhere we go. So anytime I go somewhere, this business is going with me too.
Mm-hmm.
And so things like that, I can deem reasonable to my business versus, let's say a hairstylist. If they're going out of the country, I'm going out of the country to do hair. It's hard to try to prove things like that. But on the other hand, in a service, well, we'll say MWR, I'm doing a conference over here out of the country somewhere, and then I'm gonna have a group of my team come over here with me, and we're gonna talk about this business. We're gonna introduce this business to people. Now that's deeming it reasonable to the business that I'm doing. So now it becomes a tax deduction. A lot of times, that's one of the things a lot of clients have issues with, is when they come in and they give me their list and I have to go through the books and all of that. Okay, we went here. Okay, so why did we go here? Who did you meet here? All of these, and you just can't give me anything and I'm gonna say, oh, this qualifies as a tax deduction. It doesn't work like that. So it's me doing my part, scrutinizing up front, or I let it slide and then the IRS scrutinize it, and then now they looking back, I don't know how many years, to see if you was lying in the past. So you gotta be able to make sure when you're having these certain tax write-offs, it's deemed reasonable for whatever line of business you're in.
So basically you're saying in this platform, especially this one that we're in, I can't speak for every other platform like this, but we are more likely to take a lot more advantage of those 450 than a brick and mortar or a product-based business also.
Absolutely. And I have a brick and mortar business. And a lot of people say, why do you have a home-based business and you have brick and mortar? I write off my expenses there in my brick and mortar. And then I have a home-based business too, because sometimes I like to invite guests over here and we have a cash flow conversation. So now everything that's up under my home is now a tax deduction as well. Again, it's all about how you're positioning yourself to be able to get these tax deductions.
Yes, that's the same. That's why I brought that up, because when I had my brick and mortar hair salon, the bills there were what I get to write off on the taxes for business, but none of the bills in my domicile could I write off because the business wasn't here. The business was there. But with a home-based business, like what we have, or what everybody should have, you are able to write off now the things that you're paying anyway.
Absolutely. And not
At
to
least
mention
a portion of it.
appreciation and value on certain things. You guys know with iPhones, there's an iPhone every year, and I'm an iPhone candidate. But you write off the depreciation and value, your computers, things that you have around at the home. If it depreciate in value, you get to write those things off, the depreciation of it.
That's great. So of these 450 tax deductions that businesses have preview to, what would be some of the key ones that you think that a lot of people don't realize they're doing it already anyway, and they're missing on it? And we start with Ms. Shufford, and then I'll let the rest of you guys piggyback on her.
Mileage. Mileage. You got to go to point A, B, and with these kids in school, C and D. So the mileage, I love 60-some cents a mile. I got to drive anyways. And so with tax preparation, you can choose, whether the travel, the actual pay for the gas itself, write that off, or the miles itself. I always suggest people go with the mileage because the mileage is going to pay you more. But out of all the expenses, I love the mileage because I'm always moving.
Okay. Do any of you gentlemen want to add to that?
Yeah, I'm gonna defer to the youngest of the kings again, and I'll go last.
Hey, I'm gonna go easy, and I'm gonna say that because the last 2 years, from 2021 and 2022 specifically, IRS documented, I'm gonna say the meals. 100% deductible for 2021, 2022. They haven't updated the book that I've seen yet on the IRS website for 2023, but 100% of the meals that I ate at a restaurant, according to the IRS, deemed eligible at a restaurant, was tax deductible. And like I said earlier, $7,000 in meals last year, 6,500 and some change the year before are the meals that I've eaten at, or the meals that I've been able to deduct out of my taxable income. So I'm gonna say meals, and I'm gonna add one more in there because since Jessica said miles, I'm also say for those that drive some older vehicles and they constantly go into, I wanted to say construction, but into the mechanic shop, that daggone actual expenses, man. When you take on the license of your vehicle, the registration of your vehicle, the insurance of your vehicle, the depreciation of your vehicle, along with the repairs done to a vehicle for those that have older vehicles that just take a lot more to keep up, that adds up to a lot. So much so that I was able to deduct $9,000 with that portion alone. So you got $7,000 on this hand with food and $9,000 with actual vehicle expenses that I was able to get. Now I know Clovel, big money roll over here, deductions, has a big one for us too, Verna.
Absolutely. Well, my number one, and it's real simple and elementary, and it's real simple, is the expense of running your business. For example, for us, it's 140, 150, 150 rounding it up a month to run our business. So at the end of the year, if you do the math, 150 times 12, that's a tax deduction, which literally makes your business self-funded. So I don't know, I cannot even articulate how great that is to know at the end of the year I can write off the running of my business as a tax deduction. It's an expense, and that's phenomenal. So it was like Jessica said, it was a no-brainer from jump for me, because I was like, this is common sense right here. Let me try this and see. And once I saw the numbers, it was a no-brainer. So that was my, along with the the meals, because I'm like Jason, I like to eat too, and you're going to eat 3 times a day. So it's a no-brainer, and you're definitely going to drive. So I agree with my illustrious panel as well.
Okay. I've heard a lot of different deductions out there, and a couple of them sticks out in my head. The pay your kids if they're between a certain age, the trips that you can take and write off, and of course y'all did discuss the mileage. So can you explain the pay your kids for those out there, especially those who have those kids in that age range that they talk about?
Absolutely. So paying your kids, if they're between the age of 17 years old, you're able to hire your own kids and pay them legally. And by them being between that age group, they don't have to pay taxes on the funds, but it's a tax deduction to you. And I think it's up to a little bit over $12,000 that you're able to pay your child and not pay taxes on. So just to put it in plain terms, say for instance, I'm making 50,000 and I've given my daughter, paid her 12,000 throughout the year. That lowered my tax deductions by, well, my taxable income by over 12,000 and some dollars. And so who got to pay taxes on that 12,000 and some dollars? Nobody.
Nobody.
She's not of age to pay taxes. I legally paid her. Nothing has to be paid. So that's money saved. And a lot of parents need to be able to understand that and see why having a home-based business is so important, or having a business period is so important, because now you're able to do things like that. Again, legally, ethically, and morally. The IRS is not penalizing you for something they're telling you to do.
So with that, because I've heard other told people that, and they say, well, I won't pay them. Is there a way to pay them?
Yes, you pay them like you would pay anyone else. You document it. With my daughter, I have direct deposit set up, so I direct deposit into her account. It's on regular payroll.
Set all your mother.
I need to mute out.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I have my daughter set up on direct deposit. It's set up on a regular schedule, just like I do my payroll at my office for my employees. So it's set up on actual payroll and it's provable, it's documented. You gotta documentation is very important when it comes to the tax industry. You gotta be able to document and prove everything that you're claiming on your tax return.
And is that like out of your regular savings, or do you need to set up?
So I have a business account, but you don't necessarily have to have the business account, as long as this is an account that you're operating business from.
Mm-hmm.
And I recommend, let me take it back. I recommend having a business account if you're in business. I do recommend that. And you pay all of your business expenses out of your business account. But with a home-based business, that's a little bit different. A lot of people don't have a business account. They have their personal account. So again, making sure that you're documenting everything. So if you were to ever get audited, then it's easy to pull your bank statement up. Okay, this is where I paid her. This is where I paid him. This is where this expense came out of. It's proved by the document.
Cool. My co-host out there, Mr. Woods, did you have any questions for our panel today?
Hey, how you doing out there? Hey, so my biggest question is this: that as a business owner, right? And especially business owners that they actually they some of them for lack of a better term, they were bootstrapping. Is it not a good thing for them to be able to have a W-2 gig so they could take advantage of them actually getting the instant pay raise?
So what's bootstrapping?
Okay. Bootstrapping.
I never heard that term.
Yeah, bootstrapping is where a person is solely, paying for their business out of pocket. They don't got no funding from no other areas to start up their business. So they basically is like living paycheck to paycheck, but using your money paycheck to paycheck to fund a business that's not funded by no other outside sources. So would it be healthy for them to have a W-2 gig in order for them to be able to bring some more income coming in instead of just bootstrapping from what they got going on job wise?
So now we getting into some other things. Because when starting your business, and I've been there, I actually worked my business part-time until I had enough capital in order to do it full-time. Throughout my business coaching to people, that's one of the things I stress is to never use your money. We like to use OPM, other people money, but that takes you getting your credit scores up so you'll be able to leverage the financial institutions to be able to use other people money as capital. Now, as far as W-2 format, that it don't necessarily have to be W-2 format if they're just trying to get extra income. They can either do more services that they already do or start something new on the side. Because you got to think about it. If they go out and get a regular job, that regular job is not really about the income. It's about the time that you got to put into that regular job. That's pretty much probably going to take away from what it is that you already doing. And so I wouldn't recommend just getting a W-2, getting a job just to have W-2 status, because within your own business, depending on how successful your business is, you can switch your entity to, if they just a LLC, they can switch their entity to a S corporation and put themselves on payroll with W-2 status. I hope that helped or made sense to you.
That's why.
Thank you, Ms. Shufford. I just kind of want to throw that out there because, the last question I want to ask you is this: a lot of business owners always ask, when certain opportunities. I'm not gonna throw it out, but there's certain opportunities. Like, how could certain services help enhance my business on top of what I'm doing? Because a lot of businesses, they so focus on the operation of the business that they fail in the area of taxes. So what kind of advice would you give to a young business owner that's wanting to do the right thing tax wise up front?
So like you just stated, a lot of business owners focus on the operational piece because a lot of business owners are self-employed, or, everything is banking on them. So if everything, your day-to-day operation is banking on you, then of course something is lacking. And majority of the time it's the financial piece that's lacking. A lot of business owners within my coaching sessions, a lot of business owners, they don't even know how much they bring it in, because as soon as they bring it in, they spend it back out. And so within MWR, we're able to, you have a group of experts that's working on your finances in the background, getting your credit scores up so you can be able to leverage other people's money and stop using your own money as capital. But being able to see in a systematic way on how much of income you're bringing in, how much of income is actually going back out, and what it is that you're doing with your money. Like, I have several clients that's in the clothing industry, and they're like, Ms. Shufford, I'm clearing at least $60,000 a month, and I don't know where my money going. That's because as soon as it come in, they're overspending in inventory. They overspending in payroll. You think you need all of these things, but you think you need all of those things because you don't have a proper system in place for you to be able to see what it is that you're needing and what it is that you need to be letting go. So one of the things within MWR, they focus on that financial piece. So you have more headspace to focus on the operational piece, and you're not just out here juggling things. So for any business owner that I've ever approached with this company, that's one of the things I let them know, because I know how hard it is to have to deal with the financial piece and deal with the operational piece. You only get so much of time in a day, and you got to be able to rest to replenish your mind so you can think about the things that you need to be doing. But something is going to lack, and it's great to have a team of experts who are working on your behalf, team of experts that have over 100 years collectively together of experience to be able to work on these things. Don't just trust anybody with your stuff, but within this company, we have trustworthy people that are actually working on the behalf of your finances.
Mr. Jason, I saw your hand up.
Yes, you did. So that was beautiful. And I just wanted to add in a little piece at the end. You know, in the military, we have systems and processes where soldiers and people fail or fatigue. And Jessica pointed it out, you know, having a team of experts that's there to take care of the mundane or to take care of that back office for you, while you as a business owner continue on with your creative guru and your creative designs, are now able to scale more products, while the background, the experts, your team of professionals take care of the financial side, which is in the background. And so a lot of business owners, and I'm pretty sure Jessica can attest for this, they would rather go pay somebody $100 to do taxes rather than $500 to $700 to pay somebody to do them the right way. I'm gonna say that again. They'd rather use $100 to pay Aunt Kiki and Brother Pookie over here, rather than go get a professional who's, one, IRS trained, because the taxes change, the tax laws change every year, and two, putting up that higher end capital to get somebody to do it right, to make them audit proof. Because at the end of the day, yeah, your tax professional, your tax preparer is doing your taxes, but when the IRS come audit you, they come out of you. They're not coming after Miss Shufford. They're coming after you. So you can say, hey, I gave my taxes to Miss Shufford and she did this job. No, they coming after you. So why not get a professional who's proven, IRS trained, and yeah, you get what you pay for, put it that way. And that business can thrive now because all those deductions that your cousin or your relative or your friend was afraid to put in because they're not familiar with those tax laws and they didn't want to get hit up, or they don't want to have no IRS kind of problems coming to them. Now you're able to take them because this person is trained and qualified to handle a larger scale of deductions. There's over 450 of them. We've been talking about them all night. Your friends and family don't know half of them.
Absolutely.
And I can honestly say from experience, a lot of not tax preparers, but a lot of tax companies like those, I don't want to call names, but those ones on the corners, a lot of them, the people inside, they don't know how a lot of the information that Ms. Shufford know, because like I said, they're trained maybe in October to get ready for the upcoming tax season, but they only know really individual tax. They don't know about a lot of the breaks and and I'm speaking from experience. I'm being very transparent. I knew what I knew because I wanted to learn it, but it wasn't taught.
And since I want to say the year before COVID hit, a lot of the time the tax laws, they changed so much. It was towards maybe March before they were concrete with what was going to roll out. Tax season had already started. So if you don't know a lot of these things and you're hiring anybody to do your taxes, you're going to miss out on a lot, a whole lot.
I like to use this analogy, if I may. A lot of businesses, like most wealthy people and wealthy organizations, they have a team of experts that this is what they do all day and twice on Sunday. So what happens with business owners is it's just them. So trying to do everything. And it's based off of their physical labor. So what happens if God forbid something happened to you where you can't do your job, you can't run your business? Now you got some issues. So I use this analogy. A lot of people try to look at their situation, their business as a couch, and they're already on the 10th floor. They're doing very well, and they're trying to get that couch, their finances or their business to the 30th floor. So they're trying to do it by themselves. So would you rather try to do that by yourself, get that couch up to the 30th floor, or would you rather have a team to help you get that couch and push the elevator button and put that couch on the elevator and then take it on up? What works best? So that's the analogy that I like to use.
Getting on the elevator.
I'm with you. I'm getting on the elevator.
I'm telling you, on the elevator to the upper room.
I'm not doing it by myself. That's called leveraging. And a lot of times we use leverage, and like Mr. Oliphant said, we use it in labor, but we don't realize that you can use leverage in your income as well. And that might be another topic, but when it comes down to your taxes, there's so much out there that people are missing out on, because first of all, you were told when you fill out that W-2, oh, maybe that's another thing that we didn't bring up, that W-4 that people fill out at the beginning of their employment, that make sure you let the government take as much as they need to, or even more, so you don't have to owe them. That's always the stigma. So that's why a lot of people grow up with, I'm gonna let them take whatever, so at the end of the year, I don't owe them, they'll be giving me back. But that's such the wrong mentality, because you didn't know no better. I remember when I took accounting in school, my accounting professor, he said, don't let them take anything out. You can find out how much you owe at the beginning of the year, how much you would owe, because if you know how much you're gonna make, that means you could calculate your tax liability. And if you know how much you're gonna make and you could calculate that, put it in your own account, get your own interest on that. And then at the end of the year, you already know what you're gonna pay them. Then you can pull it out and give it to them then. But why give it to them? Why give them a tax interest-free loan all year long?
It's the lack of financial literacy. You don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people fill out that W-4 form, and they'll fill it out and it'll be a one and done. And they were totally different people when they started that place of employment. And here it is, 20 years later, you're at that same job, but you still running off that same W-4. Your life changed drastically. And you had kids, you got married, all of these things. And no one ever told you what the W-4 was for. You just knew you need to fill this out to start work. But not knowing that's determining how much you're about to pay the government in taxes throughout the year.
Yep. And even
Hey, Verna.
Yes.
Hey, the funny thing is, Ms. Shufford, Verna, Clovel, that the form that you fill out, the W-4 form, it actually gives you instructions on how to fill it out. Back in 2019 and beyond, that was one of the easiest steps to fill out based on what it showed. But now the 2020, 2021, that's a whole nother ball game. But what's funny is that in the form, on the purpose, it actually says, hey, fill out another form W-4 every time your financial situation changes, or at least once every year. That little bit right there is enough to put an extra $500, $600 into a lot of different people's paycheck, to where they're not filing bankruptcy or they're not behind on their mortgage or their rent. And that little bit of that little bit right there is what brought me to this organization, which saved me an additional $2,400 a year. And I've been seeing it every single year.
And it's so crazy because it's right there in your face.
Right there.
But again, you don't know what you don't know.
So being that we have a few more minutes, I'm going to open up the floors to the guest that's on the Zoom. If anyone has a question that they would like answered. Miss Murphy, I see a hand raised. Let me find you. I don't know how to do it. Let's see. I see a couple hands raised.
He's got the green shirt on.
Okay. Unmute yourself.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. My name is William Murphy. I'm new to the MWR environment, but I'm still seeking that tremendous motivation that my wife says is in me, but I'm still looking for it. But I'm here. I'm here. I just want to share something because I'm somewhat embarrassed with this conversation that we had, but my wife has been helping me improve on this emotional side of me when it comes to taxes. I was in the Marine Corps. I went in the Marine Corps in 1980. I stayed in the Marine Corps from 1980 to 86. And when I got out of the Marine Corps, I applied for a job at a company called Goldman Sachs. And I worked at Goldman Sachs for 6 years. Within those 6 years, it seems as though that every job, the jobs that I had, I worked for Standard & Poor's, McGraw-Hill, and I worked for Goldman Sachs before that. And now I work for the Jersey City Board of Education. But I have never, ever got a refund. I always owed money, always owed money. I mean, till this very day. I'm 62 years old, and I'm embarrassed that I never got a refund, but you said that refunds mean that you were paying too much. Well, I know that I did not pay too much. We all know that. If I never got a refund, that made a whole lot of sense to me. But it just kind of hurts to know that I never got a refund because I never did it right for over 40 years. And now I wait until I get 62 years of age to find the right road. So what I'm realizing is that if you're on the wrong road, you can't expect to get to the right place. I understand that. So I'm determined to get my not so much to get a refund, but I just wanted to share with you how embarrassing it is to come this far in life and had your taxes all screwed up because you never reached out. And I did my taxes every year, but no one ever said to me, well, Murphy, you can write this off, and Murphy, you can do. I never got that type of help until I reached the promised land of MWR. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing to hear. And I would say, don't feel embarrassed about it. You didn't know what you didn't know, but now you know better. And now you're able to reach out to individuals that were like the old you and say, nah, there's a better way. You know, there's a better way. You found that there's a better way. So don't feel super embarrassed about it. You just didn't know what you didn't know, but now you do.
And that's my key point why I asked Ms. Shufford what was her role as a tax preparer, because if you are going to a tax preparer or a tax place and they see that this is happening to you year after year, they should have, I mean, I'm not picking on anybody, Lord, because it's in the past, but that's where a tax preparer comes in to say, hey, let's look at your financial situation and give you some input of what you can probably do better so that you won't have to pay or you won't get a refund. It can wash. But a lot of times, because a lot of tax preparers don't know what they don't know either.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, they just prepare the taxes. When you having a relationship with your clients and you're doing your due diligence, it's more so tax planning at that point. Because yeah, I got to knock on a few doors. I got to tap into that mind to see what it is that you're needing, what it is that you're needing in the near future. And so had he came in, Mr. Murphy would have came in and I saw all this going on, like, wait a minute. Let's see what's going on, because something's not right. and we'll figure out that whole situation. Like, what he married, was he filing married, filing joint? You know, were you guys taking into consideration the spouse income when you were completing your W-4 form? Because whatever you put on that W-4 form, you have to file that way in the beginning of the year. It amazes me how so many people are married, but they don't fill their W-4 form out as if they're married. They either do single or head of household. And then at the beginning of the year, when you file taxes, now you're gonna owe some money because that W-4 form wasn't completed correctly. So knowing the person's situation is very important. That's why I say tax planning versus tax preparation, because people just prepare taxes, but they don't know how to properly plan, have a plan for that person's financial situation when it comes to taxes.
Yes.
Hey, Miss Verna, Miss Regina Hines, she would like to, speak. Hey, Miss Shufford, man, I'm loving how we are articulating this, because believe it or not, that last part that you just said, they really hurting themselves when they don't, come together when it comes to that money. Because when they say it's levels to things in life, there is levels to things in life. When it comes to these finances and, take it to a whole nother level, it can't, when you're married, you got to stop speaking those singular verbs. You got to start speaking French. We, us, our. And this I'm telling you right now, I'm not married, but I know that if I'm with my queen and I'm her king, we gonna run this kingdom like no other. We're not about to be separated on nothing, because that right there hurts a lot of people from taking it to levels they never imagined before.
Yes.
But I'm just put that out there. But Ms. Regina Hines wanted to put something out there.
Okay, quick question. Can you hire your grandkids?
You can, but
Okay.
it's a lot behind the scene that you're going to need in order to qualify to be able to hire your grandkids. Not
Okay.
impossible, but there are some things that needs to be done.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Jessica.
Yes.
Hey, you mind if, so I would say, to add on what Jessica said, you got to understand that having a home-based business is designed in a way so where you're deducting more of your own home. So if you're taking a kid that's not in your home, such as a grandkid, a niece or nephew, you're actually creating somewhat of an expense. But if that grandkid, that niece, that nephew is actually living in your home, eating your food, always in the refrigerator, then now we could put that child on a payroll to where now they're paying, you're getting the benefits of owning a business and having that child in your household as an employee, not just a dependent. Is that right, Jessica?
I like how he said dependents. Yes, that dependent has to be living with you. You have to prove that you are that person's guardian. They are actually living in your household.
Okay.
IRS, they ain't that crazy now. So we can go out here and say we're gonna hire our whole family. And plus, you gotta have the income. You gotta have enough income to say that you're even desiring to pay someone. Like a person, if you're not making enough income to make ends meet yourself, how you gonna say you over here paying Lil Daryl? It has to make sense too.
And that's what's great about our organization as well. We have the tax experts that speak over 80 different languages, and they will talk to you one-on-one, whether it's via chat, whether it's via a phone call, about your specific situation, like Jessica said, and what you're trying to do. And they won't just talk about one area. They will talk about your holistic body of what you're trying to do.
I like to say the situation is the boss. Everybody is different. So your situation.
And that's the other thing with taxes also. I remember when I was preparing taxes one year, a lady came in and her hope was to use her tax refund to be her down payment on her house. So when we prepared her taxes, she was going to get back less than she was getting the year before. And she was completely upset because how I'm getting less, I'm doing this, and this situation didn't change. I was like, well, every year, first of all, something came off the table that had put more money back in your pocket. And every year the tax laws change. So you can't expect that because you had an increase in exemptions or what do you call them? What do you call people on your taxes? Dependents. That means your pay gonna go up. Each situation and my situation, even though it may look exactly the same, does not mean that how your tax situation is going to plan out going to be the same way as mine. That's why you can't go to these cookie cutter places to get your taxes done. You have to go somewhere where the person is going to look at you as an individual, because if you don't have a business, it's called individual tax return. That means it's individual, is made for each person. Miss Sarah, I did see your hand up. Did you still want to say something?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. First of all, thank you so much for everybody taking the time to be here and participate in this amazing webinar. Thank you so much for the great information. One thing I was going to say, it may sound funny, but it's really not. A lot of people, I see a lot of memes and things online about people with bad credit, people trying to date, and they say, oh, you said your credit score was in the 800s or something like that, right? But having a real conversation with the person you're dating, if you're looking at getting married, about what your tax situation is like is super important, because your tax liability now becomes your wife's tax liability, right? And if you haven't gotten a tax return in several years, and or you owe the government money for back taxes, guess who else owes it? Right? Yeah. So you have to have a real conversation, not only about your individual taxes and finances, but also about your taxes and what your liability is, because it could become a problem later.
Absolutely.
I love you, Murph. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but you offered the information, so I just wanted to elaborate on that. That's my husband, y'all. He's like, I'll see you at 7.
Okay, now it adds up. Now it adds up. But that is so important, because finances actually is one of the #1 reasons why a lot of divorces happen. It's not infidelity, it's finances, because a lot of people are afraid to talk about finances when they're getting into relationships and getting into marriages. It's so important to talk about finances, because if we're in this thing together, guess what? We're in this thing together for the long haul. And knowing what a person's credit score is, knowing how much of debt they have, all of those things are important, because now the plan that I have for myself, we got to build a plan together for us. So how we're going to get your debt down, how we're going to get my debt down, how we're going to get our credit scores up, how we're going to minimize our expenses, how we're going to start to create a plan where we can start investing. You know, those are very, very important conversations that every relationship should have.
Mr. Jason, you still had something to say?
Yeah. I'm just throwing my hand up there and putting it down so I don't distract anybody. So thank you, Verna. But man, y'all hit the nail on the head with that one. Because if you think about this, and I can relate to this just by the people I come in contact with on a daily basis. Again, I'm active duty military 20 years, and I talk to a lot of people. And you know what's funny, or what's not funny, or should I say, is that we would talk about what the wedding gonna look like, what trips we're gonna take, how many kids we're gonna have, how many people we've slept with prior to, just so we know what's going on. But we'll never, and I've not seen a conversation, or have heard a spouse say they had a conversation about what way they're gonna file taxes or why they're not gonna file a certain way. And I've had some soldiers and some leaders basically say, I'm filing separate, or we're filing separate because that person had bad tax stuff going on, and I don't want that messing with my stuff. And you know, when you talk about taxes as a whole, you know, that's the IRS. So you got to understand how valuable, one, and how important, two, that conversation is in the future development of your relationship. You only get married one time with that person, predominantly, so you only have one wedding, but you have to deal with the financial situation every paycheck or every lack of a paycheck, if that makes sense.
Correct. Correct. I remember and I'm gonna always go back to my days in preparing taxes. It came to a point, and that's how I was. I wasn't just about preparing your taxes and getting you a refund. A couple came in, or a lady they were still married. Yes, they were not living in the same household, but they were still married. And sometimes you have to really look at the situation. So I asked the question, is there any way y'all could file together? Because the other option is married filing separately. You're not supposed to do all the other craziness that a lot of us do. And if you are possibly can file together, do that, because you are able to utilize so much more on your taxes. Yeah, there's a lot of deductions and a lot of credits that you can't participate in because you're filing separate. And you can keep up doing it the not right way of filing head of household or single, whatever you want to do it, but it's gonna catch up to you eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So
and it's not crazy at all. You think they don't know you're married? Yeah, they know you're married. I've seen it. One lady came to me and she brought in all the documentation that the IRS had sent her, and someone else had prepared her taxes the years before, and she had been filing head of household, and IRS had sent her a letter stating that her filing status was supposed to be married filing jointly. They did a full audit on her. They are not crazy. So don't think you married and you can still file however you want to, and you're just getting away with it. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Well, we are over our hour, and the tax information is so broad and we can get really in depth with it. I want to thank, sorry, my accent came out just now. Thank. I want to thank my panel for being here with us and sharing all this information with you. Ms. Shufford, can you give them where they can find you? Do you do taxes outside of where you are? Anything to give them your information and your contacts and everything?
Thank you guys for having me this evening. You guys could follow me on social media at the Jessica Renee on Instagram, but my business page is JTS Financial Solutions _ on Instagram, and it's Jessica Shufford on Facebook. And you guys also can visit my website at www.jtsfinancialsolutions.com. We specialize in tax preparation, tax planning, and financial coaching as well.
Ooh. Any of you gentlemen want to put how we can follow you? Because I'm gonna say this, JT, Mr. Jason Thomas, he's the one to follow. I mean, he's on social media, and his information, the stuff that he put out there is top. I mean, I'd be like, I need him to be doing my social media page.
Hey, you're too kind, Verna. You're too kind. But hey, real quick, I'm gonna hit back with Jessica. Hey, if y'all are not with MWR Financial and have a team of experts like we do, tax professionals to handle your taxes, definitely hit up my girl Jessica Shufford and her company, and she could definitely take care of you and your tax needs. But for those that's looking for me, if you like to talk about faith, food, and finances, again, faith, food, and finances, specifically finances, I would love to have some synergy, see if we got some synergy and collaborate. You can find me on all types of social media. I am Chief T. That's Chief T, Chief with the letter T. And I'll be happy to partner up with you and express a great wealth of information over a meal anytime.
Mr. Oliphant.
Absolutely. So I would like to leave you with a quote before I close out. And this is from Madam C.J. Walker, and it simply states, I believe that it is my duty to make money and use it for the benefit of my neighbors. I'd like to leave you with that quote. Also, you can reach me at Clovel Oliphant on Facebook. I'm not as famous as my panel, but we can collab. Reach out to the person that invited you to this Zoom and touch bases with you. You will not be disappointed. Thank you.
And I want to thank everyone who participated, everyone who came in. We are streaming this live on YouTube. It is Verna Monsanto, I think I know it's my YouTube page. I will be getting a YouTube page for this, especially that way people can follow this platform. But I want to thank you guys for being here and sharing this wealth of information with our guests and the world, because it's out there on YouTube now, so and the world. And I hope that you guys saw what our guests put on the table. And it's there for you to pick it up. You only could get out of it what you pick up out of it. So they put it all on the table. You can pick it all up, or you can pick pieces up. But what you pick up will determine what you get. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you on the next round table. Mr. Woods, are you out there to come and join us on?
Hey, you already know I'm out here. Hey, I want to thank everybody that came in, you know, and every wisdom that they got for finances, and just, you know, putting it out there. And the thing what I love about the round table, when you bring it to it, there's no biasness. There's no big us, there's no little you. We in this together, because guess what? The financial game had been played on us before all of us were born. Even some of our parents. We talking about way back. Now, if you want to know more about that, hey, keep following the round table and keep following all the individuals that's trying to put the impact on people's life to change their financial identity. But most of all, what is your why? What is your why for wanting to have time freedom? And shouldn't you have your millions today? That's just something I want to leave in your spirit, because you already made somebody else millions. Hey, so be great on purpose. And like I always say, hey, remember, the bottom is way too crowded. Hey, I'm going to see you on the Beach of the World at the top.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Good afternoon.
Good night.
Good night. That's awesome.
Oops, pressing the wrong thing.